Welcome to the video for Chapter 3 of Ecce Romani, this one focusing in particular on the gender of nouns. So your first question, and it's a logical one, is what is gender? Gender is one of the characteristics of every single noun in Latin. The first characteristic that we saw was that nouns could either be singular or they could be plural. And we already learned that pretty quickly, and there's a review video this chapter as well to reinforce that. But we call that characteristic number. So the number of a noun, is it singular or plural? And then the other characteristic that we're going to learn about in this video is gender. Nouns can be masculine. They can be feminine. And feminine. And they can also be neuter. In this video, we're just going to learn about the masculine and feminine nouns. So, do nouns in English have gender? The answer is pretty much no. If the concept of gender of nouns seems surprising to you, it's because it's not something that's really present in English all that much. We have ships, which are commonly thought of as she or her. So that's an example of maybe where there's a little bit of gender, but in general, we do not have gender in the English language. Although it is present in French, Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, Romanian, those all being the Romance languages. So now, the next logical question is, what's the purpose of gender? And in short, there is no real purpose. There's no reason why we use the terms masculine, feminine, or neuter. We might as well use the numbers 1, 2, and 3. It's just a way of grouping nouns into different families that behave the same way. So most masculine nouns have particular characteristics, feminine nouns have different characteristics, and neuter nouns have other ones. In some cases, it can kind of guide you. You might guess that the word girl, our puella in Latin, is feminine. The word for boy, puer, which we see in chapter 3, is masculine. So you get some guidance there, but really there's no correlation between whether a noun seems like it's more manly or whether it seems like it's more girly and what its gender is. So as I just mentioned, the nouns that we've seen in chapters 1 and 2, like puella, are feminine. Other nouns that we've seen, huila, is feminine. Pictura is, guess, feminine. So for the most part, the nouns that we've seen in chapters 1 and 2 are feminine. What do these all have in common? Let me give you a second to figure that out. And if you guessed the A ending on each one of them, you'd be correct. So that's a pretty good way to tell if our noun here is feminine. The A ending indicates that it is a feminine noun. So in chapter 3, we're going to begin to see masculine nouns, which look a little bit different. We're going to see the noun puer, which means boy. We're going to see the noun vir, which means man. We're going to see servus, which means slave. And if you're looking for a pattern here, it's more difficult to find. But generally, it's going to be the masculine nouns end with an R or a US. So an R or a US indicates that they're masculine. That's what they all have in common. So you'll remember that the other characteristic of Latin nouns is their number. So we have the two. We have number and gender now. So number means whether it's singular or plural. And we saw with our feminine nouns, and we'll put those down here, that when they were singular, they ended in an A, puella. When they were plural, they ended in an AE, puelli. Now, I've already given you, for the masculine, I pointed out that they end in R or in US. And when they become plural, they're going to end in a long I. So instead of puer for boy, we're going to have pueri. Instead of weir for man, we're going to have weary. And instead of servus for slave, we're going to have servi. You can take a minute and fill in this chart under number 7 on your guided watching worksheet. So you'll remember when we were talking about the number of nouns, if we had a sentence like puella, defesa, habitat. So the tired girl is living. If we wanted to change that into the tired girls are living, we would need to make it puelli, defesi, habitant. So we needed to change the ending of our verb, the ending of our adjective, and the ending of our noun, just to accommodate the fact that we had a plural noun there. When we talk about gender, it's someone. So consider the sentence again. Puella, defesa, habitat. If instead of saying the tired girl is living, I wanted to say the tired slave is living. So our vocabulary for that would be servus. So we have the slave. What else needs to change is this A right here. That A needs to change to a US. So it would be defesus. The verb does not change. The verb stays the same. Verbs do not have gender. Adjectives do have gender. So that's why our defesa, our adjective there, changes to defesus. So adjectives, their gender matches the noun that they go with, which will require that ending to change either US if it's singular or a long I if it's plural. So to review those adjective endings, they're pretty much the same as noun endings. We've got masculine here, feminine here. We have singular adjectives up here, plural adjectives here, with one difference. You'll remember that in feminine, our adjective is either going to end with an A if it's singular, or an AE if it's plural. With masculine, our nouns ended in either an R or a US, right? But here, that's actually not going to be the case. It's just going to end in a US. And if it's plural, it's going to end in a long I. So an example of where that might seem a little weird is if instead of having the tired slave, if we had a tired man, which is we're deface. So you might want to try to put an R on there to make the endings match. Here it would be we're deface us. So the endings don't match there. Whereas with servus, it'd be servus defaces. And with puella, it would be puella defesa. All right. So you could put that into practice with the phrase for question number 12, where you're considering a tired boy, puer, a tired girl, puella, and using the adjective tired, defesa, or defesus, we might say, and matching the adjective up with the noun, changing the endings of both for whether they're singular or plural. So give that a shot and I'll give you the answers if you want to pause the video for just a second. All right, so for tired boy, we're going to have puer defasus. For tired boys, we're going to have pueri defaci. For tired girls, we're going to have puella. Oh, for tired girl, excuse me, we'll have puella defesa. And for tired girls, we'll have puelli defesi. So that concludes this video lesson. Thanks for sticking with me. If you don't get it right away, don't worry, we're going to spend a lot of time working on this. So if you have questions about anything, make sure to review them. Otherwise, have a great afternoon.